Welcome to class. On today's edition of our class, we will be taking you through some thoughts on transformational leadership. Transformational leadership. Now, as the name would suggest, transformational leadership seeks to transform whether the followers that the leader is leading or the organization or community that the leader is involved with. It speaks about change, but I must emphasize positive change. It aligns with the caterpillar to butterfly approach to leadership, where the leader is interested in moving the followers or the community from the caterpillar stage and taking them through to the stage where they fly as butterflies. Now, transformational leadership principally sees leadership as the movement either of people or of organizations or communities from point A, where the leader met them, to point B, C, or D, where the leader expects them to go, following the vision of the team or the organization. Now, transformational leadership, therefore, is interested in the growth of the followers and also the growth of the organization that the leader is involved with or that the leader is leading. Now, transformational leadership must be distinguished from two other kinds of leadership. Sometimes sound alike, but it's not exactly the same. Now, the first distinction must be between transformational leadership and transactional leadership. Now, in a transactional leadership, the leader gets into a relationship with followers or with a community organization, and what principally happens there is more like trade by barter. The leader gives sometimes to the follower money, and the follower gives the leader services. Now, that is not transformational leadership, because in that instance, the leader has no interest in the change or the growth of the follower. What is interested in is taking services or whatever from the follower and giving back to the follower, maybe money or other services in return. Now, the second thing that we must quickly distinguish transformational leadership from is what McGregor has titled pseudo-transformational leadership. Now, this sounds like transformational leadership, but the pseudo there would mean that it is not a complete transformational leadership. It would be like, going back to the caterpillar to butterfly example we use, it would be like moving the caterpillar from the caterpillar stage maybe to the pupa stage, but not taking it through to the flying butterfly stage. So pseudo-transformational leadership is actually a brand of transformational leadership. Now, the leader seeks to change, seeks to improve, seeks to grow the follower, but he's not growing the follower in the direction of the follower's interest. He's growing the follower in the direction of his own interest. I mean, he is here, the leader. So he changes the follower so that the follower becomes more useful to him. He changes the follower so that the follower becomes an arsenal in his war kitty. He doesn't change, he doesn't transform the follower in the direction of his needs. Now, this is very important. The transformational leader changes, improves, grows the follower and the organization in line with the vision of the organization or in line with the vision of the follower, not necessarily in line with the leader's vision or the leader's interest. Now, there are four cardinal principles of transformational leadership. The first very important element of transformational leadership is what is titled idealized influence or influencer. Now, what this is principally from the word ideal, and then of course from the word influence. Of course, you know that John Maxwell defines leadership as, he says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Now, but what transformational leadership is saying is that for you to be a transformational leader, you must first be an idealized influencer. That is, you must be the ideal. You must be the picture of the future that your followers want to become. Now, when you stand as a leader, and if you want to say you're a transformational leader, now what transformational leadership is principally saying is that when you stand, the followers should see you as the butterfly they want to become. The followers should see you as the great picture of themselves that they seek to become. Now, an idealized influencer is that guy that causes you to change your behavior without having to say it. He causes you to do things in a particular way without having to ask you to do it. How does he make you to change your behavior? How does he make you to start doing things you had not planned to do without saying it? He does it because he is it. You begin to see people trying to be clean because the particular man is clean. You begin to see people trying to be hardworking because a particular man is hardworking. Some people say they want to become like Tony Elumelu. They see the things they do. And because they see the things they do and they want to become like him, they begin to do what Tony does without Tony asking them to do. Now, most of the people we have modeled our life after, we have not met them. But we are trying to do things like him. We speak like some of them. We walk like some of them. We want to go to the schools that some of these people went to, not because they have told us to go to those schools, but because they are the picture of the future that we aspire to get to. Now, that is what it means to be an idealized influencer. Now, question is, how many people in your organization, how many people in your community have fashioned their life after you without you having to ask them to do one thing or the other? Now, an idealized influencer is an uncommanded commander. Now, what I mean by this is that he doesn't need to shout at people. He just lives his life. And as he lives his life, people daily are investing their income and resources to begin to live their lives like that man is living his life. That man there is an idealized influencer, and that is the first element of transformational leadership. Now, the second element of transformational leadership is what is called individualized consideration. Now, what does individualized consideration mean? Now, it simply means for you, O leader, that seeks to be a transformational leader, that you must see each of your followers as a unique individual. Transformational leaders do not lump up the followers and treat them as a group. And if we're supposed to look at this from the organizational perspective, what it would mean would be that if you are the leader of company XYZ today, and tomorrow you become a leader of company YSF, you don't bring the same principles that you used in leading company XYZ and attempt to use it in leading company YSF, because the two companies are different, just as two individuals are different. So individualized consideration simply says, oh leader, look at each follower differently. The need of follower 1 may not be the same as the need of follower 2. What makes follower 1 active may not be the same thing as what makes follower 2 active. What is a reward for follower 1 may not be reward for follower 2. Now, in your organization, for instance, there may be people who are there to learn from you, while there are people who are there to earn from you. So now, when you see the two of them differently, you realize that what person A, who came to learn once, is exposure to opportunities that will make them learn. But one person B, who came to earn once, is exposure to opportunities that will make them have more money. But if you give more earning opportunities to the person who came to learn and give more learning opportunities to the person who came to earn, the reality is that they will not be motivated. Now, is it that you have not done what would have motivated them? You have actually done. But it is that you have done the right thing to the wrong person. And this is often premised on the fact that the leader looks at all the followers as one. So he treats person A the same way he treats person B, whereas all that person A wanted was money, and all that person B wanted was exposure to opportunities to learn. So, dear leader, you seek to change people, you seek to transform them. You must appreciate that some animals are oviparous, while some are viviparous. Now, what that would mean is that some would lay eggs and sit on them before they hatch, while some would just give birth straight to their offsprings. So you don't expect to apply the same process of transformation for the chickens to human beings. You must realize that they are unique and different. Now, the third element of transformational leadership is what we would call inspirational motivation. Now, principally, what inspirational motivation means is that the leader, in communicating the vision of the organization, must do so in a way that motivates the follower, must do so in a way that gives the follower a self and sense of identity in the actualization of the vision of the organization, or of course of the leader's vision. Now, take for instance, every time you gather people to share your vision with them, what you must appreciate is that each and every one of the people that you're speaking to also have personal desires. They also have personal aspirations and vision. Now, inspirational motivation says that in sharing the vision of the organization or in sharing the vision of the leader must do so in a way and manner that the followers or the team he has gathered also realize that in the realization of the vision of the organization, the followers' personal vision would also be realized. What we're principally saying is that to everyone listening to you, you only make sense to them when you have said what they want in the course of the communication of your vision. If you say you're going to give boats, you say you're going to give fishing trolleys, and you are speaking to engineers, not to fishermen, you didn't say anything. If you say you're going to give construction work to indigenous engineers in Akwa Ibom State, and you are actually speaking to lawyers, you did not make sense. You only made sense to engineers. But what we're now saying is that a leader who will make sense will be careful to know the composition of his team, and in the course of communicating the vision, either of the leader or of the organization, he must integrate elements of the interest of all the members of the team to ensure, as it were, that everyone sees the picture of their satisfaction in the realization of the leader's vision. Where inspirational motivation is not achieved in a team, the team members will run at the passion level of the leader. But where everyone has seen their interest being met in the success of the leader or the organization, they bring their individual passion. So the day that the leader is weak, the team members are active. The day that person A is weak, person B is active, because person B is not working on the passion of person A, but is working on his own personal passion. The only reason that happens is that he sees his benefit in the vision as communicated by the leader. And now the last element of transformational leadership is what we call intellectual stimulation. Intellectual stimulation. Intellectual stimulation. Now, principally what this means is that the leader must be smart. The leader must be an intellectual. The leader must have enough smartness in himself to be able to evoke the smartness and the innovation of the other members of the team. Now, you must be able to create an environment that evokes the creativity of the members of the team. You must be able to set things in place that allows team members to express their creative ingenuity to be real. Now, what are the examples of some of the things that the leader needs to do to ensure that this happens? Number one, for instance, the leader must acknowledge that he doesn't know everything. Now, where a leader acknowledges that he doesn't know everything, he gives room to the other members of the team to up their game, to fill up the weakness of the leader. But number two, following directly from the first, is that a leader must know something. You cannot afford to show up as a leader and you know nothing. So although it is right for a leader to acknowledge that he doesn't know everything, the leader must know something very well, at least one thing. If he's not perfect in skills, he must be near perfect in character, so that when he is speaking to the followers will not look down on him as a non-entity, but they will say that no one else can do this one better than the leader. So if the leader has said he cannot do this one, it doesn't mean that it's a non-entity, because as I often say, and as I want to emphasize in this class, nobody is permitted to lead another who knows everything more than him. That is not leadership. Now, beyond this, the next thing that will happen is an atmosphere where reward is evenly distributed, where a leader quickly acknowledges the contributions of the members of the team. It will stimulate the intellectual ability of the team members. When somebody does right, you say he does right. However, too, the leader must also create an environment that doesn't kill when mistakes are made. Must create an environment where people can learn from their mistakes. And finally, leaders must learn to delegate. But in delegation, it must be effective delegation. And that's the size of our class on transformational leadership. Join us, the Knowledge Academy physical class, to learn more. Thank you.